So there are 4 and a half.
And a half.
Basic knives that everyone should have in their home.
And what is that half, you might ask? Well, here to tell us which ones those are and what they do is personal chef Bill Collins. He's from chefbill.com. Bill, what's the half knife? Let's start with the half.
Well, let's start with the half, and that is actually a bench scraper. And I call it the half because it's not regularly a full knife, but it's so important to when you're cutting and chopping because it allows you to gather things up on your cutting board and either put them in the pan, put them in the stock pot, or if you're going to toss out the little extra bits. And it's easier than trying to balance on an end of a knife. So I call it the half. I give it credit to go along with the other knives.
This looks
That
great.
is a really great tool to have.
It is, and the great thing about this is nobody really associates it with knives. It's used in pastry shops because it's called a bench scraper. Let me just grab it from you a sec, because cleaning off the bench of all the dough or gathering the dough. So that's why it's called a bench scraper, but I just find it so helpful. I can't live without it. I've got 2 of them, and I could probably have 10.
Really? Well, I'm living without it now, but I suppose I should get one.
Rush out.
Here you go.
Rush out.
Rush out. And they're under $10, and they're available all over
Oh,
the
that's a
place.
steal. 'Cause
Affordable too.
some knives get pricey. So let's go to
Sure.
the next one. Was that a paring knife I see?
Yep, the paring knife. And some people say that I say you need 4 and a half knives. Some people say at the very least 2. And so if you were to have 2, it would be these 2 if you were just starting out. But the paring knife, as you point out, this is so important for the smaller jobs, whether it be for apples, cutting apples, cutting segments out of oranges, or taking the core out of tomatoes, or even peeling. Everybody's got a grandmother who can peel an entire apple without breaking any of the
That's
skin.
my grandmother.
No, that's my
No,
grandmother.
it's my grandmother. It was
And
my
I bet it's
grandmother.
your grandmother too.
It's
How do they
everybody's
do that?
grandmother.
And when I try it, it's like, ow, ow.
You
I
have
can't
to
do
be a
it.
grandmother. Until that age, it's not possible.
My
That's
mom's
true.
good at it too. Oh, she is a grandmother
She is
now.
a grandmother.
Oh my
There you
gosh,
go.
it's so true.
It is. So,
I will do it when I'm a grandma.
and that's what the knives were originally for, and so all the smaller tasks. So this is indispensable for the smaller ones.
Well, while we have it here, Chef Bill, can we try something?
Sure. Why don't we actually use it on the apple? And I'm going to embarrass myself now by trying to.
Are you a grandmother,
I'm
Bill?
not a grandmother because I'm not going to be able to do this in one fell swoop. And so, but you can kind of go
And this is
around.
like the one time where you can cut towards yourself.
It is, because with a paring knife, because Seth, that's a great point, because with every other knife, it's larger, and notice how I'm holding it up in the air. Very few foods do you actually hold up in the air. You want the solid surface of the cutting board to be able to hold the food and keep the knife steady, because in every other instance, you want the knife steady and the board to be steady. So this is my stab at being a grandmother. It'll never work again.
I think you did a great job.
It's a good run. Hey, you know what I learned the other day too? Those the apple peels, dogs love those, and they're good for dogs.
Yes, I didn't realize that, and I'm going to go and feed those to my dogs.
Perfect.
Now, another thing to do with the paring knife is cut the apple in half. Now, cut it again in half, or even more easy, you've got it on a flat surface rather than trying to do it that way. That'll hold it steady, a bit like that. And now you can take out. Again, you gently, you never force a knife, especially a paring knife like that. You can do it up like that, slowly, and you're able to take out all the seeds and the last bit of peel off the top.
There you go. What's next?
What's next? Well, let's move on to onions. And one of the other knives is called utility knife, 6-inch utility knife. And this is for the in-between jobs between the full chef's knife and the little paring knife. So what I like to do is cut the ends off an onion. Now, at this,
You leave the skin on.
well, this I'm going to peel it first. So
Right.
yes, but I mean, but I like to go to a little cut like that. So and then get the knife underneath, and you can do this with the paring knife if you're not comfortable with the bigger knife, and it pulls off just the skin. And a question I often get is, well, how far down do you have to go to peel an onion? As far down as you want. If you just want to take off the upper skin, everything is completely edible, so you don't have to worry about going down too deep. And this way, it'll peel right off. Some onion skins put up a fight because they're very papery thin, but it comes up right like that. So now, I like to move on to the chef's knife. And a lot of people, this is a 10-inch chef's knife. A lot of people say, oh, that's too big, it's unmanageable. I believe that this is actually easier to use and more efficient than the 8-inch chef's knife. This looks easier, and the reason is, let me show you. I'm going to cut this onion in half. And notice also how I'm holding the knife. A lot of people hold the knives like this, but your knuckles are going to hit the board. Some people hold the knife like this, but you're still not going to have this side-by-side lateral control. If you put it between your thumb and your forefinger, just like that, you're going to have full control of the knife.
Okay.
And so by picking up the knife like this and pushing down, notice my hand here, we call this the guide hand. I'm not holding it flat, because if you hold it flat, you can take your fingertips off. So hold your fingers up like that, push down, and again, you've got the flat surface. Now, if I were to do this with the 8-inch knife, I'm picking it up that much higher.
That's true.
Oh.
And it's counterintuitive, plus you've got a smaller area.
Yeah.
So this way, it doesn't have to go up as high. There's a rule of geometry in there.
Yeah.
It's just
And-
math now.
Exactly. It's all about math, not food.
Now, Chef Bill, we both grabbed some knives here. Are we holding them the correct way?
Yes, you are.
What about
I am.
Ashley?
Well, Ashley, put your thumb and forefinger like that, and that way you've got control.
And this will be easier for me?
That's going to be easier for you. And so it seems now, one thing, the surface is just as important. I put a damp piece of paper towel under the board to keep it from sliding, because usually it slides around. This way, you've got a solid surface, it won't move. And so, I've
And
got
that's
this
a
flattened onion, so flat
easy
surface, flat onion. And
Oh, then you're just moving.
exactly. Now,
And always with the finger shielded in.
exactly, because if you hold it up like that, because remember, if you had the smaller knife, you'd actually be lifting up higher. I'm not going above my fingers, so I can just slice down like that,
Perfect.
and you've got these perfect slices for the onion.
All right, so then the last knife, Chef Bill, show us what that is
This
right
is
there.
called an offset handled serrated knife. It's kind of a mouthful, and you see it's got the serrations of very big teeth. All these knives have teeth on them. This just happens to have bigger teeth. This is perfect for cutting fruit, whether it be an orange, whether it be taking the skin off of a watermelon. It's perfect. It's great for cutting bread. Also for tomatoes. I happen to have a tomato right here, because especially this time of year, and this is actually a perfect tomato to show because it's getting a little wrinkled bit and the skin is a little softer. If you were to take so many other knives, especially if it's not perfectly sharp, you just end up with a pile of mush.
So
And it
true.
explodes too all
Yes,
over your
and I
shirt.
get so frustrated.
I hate that.
Exactly, but with this, with the offset handled serrated knife, you can just cut down every time.
wow.
Now, why offset handle? Why not have just a straight handle along? Because your knuckles won't hit the cutting board. If it were perfectly flat, every single time you would hit. Because even if you were to hold it like this, because it's a smaller handle, you would hit. So it just makes it more comfortable, easier to use.
And those are the 4.5 knives
4
that
and a half.
everyone should have in their kitchen to make their lives a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chef Bill.
Thank you.
And for more information about these knives, you can head to our website, mymassappeal.com, later on today. And we'll keep on cutting.
Yeah, let's cut away.